What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be having a look at the operators in Modern Warfare. I want to go through and show all the operators that we've seen so far in the limited build that we were able to play when Activision flew me and a bunch of other YouTubers out to capture and record this gameplay early. And also with this video, I thought it would be a good time to talk a little bit about the potential future of microtransactions in Modern Warfare and how this ties in with these operators that we're going to be getting. So let's just hop right into it. Within Modern Warfare, there are two primary factions. These are the overall factions, the sort of East versus West. We have Allegiance and Coalition. Now, when you get into the operator menus, you select an operator for each of these sides because every time a map loads up, there's going to be the Allegiance side and the Coalition side, and you're not always going to be Coalition or always going to be Allegiance. It just depends on which side of the map you end up spawning on. So as a result, you select what you want to look like anytime you spawn as Allegiance, and you select what you want to look like every time you spawn as Coalition. Additionally, you can pick which one of these is your favorite that you want to look like in the menus of the game. So if you really like the looks of your Allegiance character, you can select that one to be the main one that displays in the menus. But in the actual game, when you end up on the Coalition team, you won't be able to use that operator. Now, before we get into the specific operators, I just want to be very clear up front here. The developers were also very clear in telling us this. Operators in this game are 100% purely cosmetic. That means their hitboxes will be consistent. If you have like a female soldier, for instance, that is a little bit smaller in the frame, their character model might look a little bit smaller, but their hitbox will be identical to all of the other ones. So based on what the developers have told us, there are no gameplay advantages whatsoever, with the exception of maybe camouflage when choosing an operator. So let's first hop into the Coalition faction, which is more of the West faction. With this one, it consists, currently at least, of 3 sub-factions. We've got SAS, Warcom, and Demon Dogs, and we actually have the emblems from these as well. These were leaked a long time ago, and now they finally line up. You can see there, we've got SAS, Warcom, and Demon Dogs. Additionally, for both sides, there is a default character that doesn't fall into these sub-factions. Now at this point, it's also unclear if there will be something else going on with these sub-factions, like perhaps the mission team system that we had in Infinite Warfare, where maybe there's some unique challenges that are tied to these, but that's the kind of stuff we're just going to have to wait and find out more about. But for the operators we had access to in the build that we played at this event, within SAS we had Thorn, as well as Charlie, and then also in the Demon Dogs sub-faction we had D-Day. As for the Allegiance side, which is more of that east side, we've got the 3 sub-factions, which are Spetsnaz, Jackals, and Chimera. And in the Jackal section, we had access to Zane. Then in the Chimera sub-faction, we had access to Kruger, as well as Sid. And you might actually recognize Sid from an early Modern Warfare trailer where she was jumping out of a plane. But those are all the operators we've seen so far, at least in the build of the game we played, although I did want to draw your attention back to a promotional image of these operator packs from a pre-order bonus from several months ago now. And you can see here that with this operator pack, you can get 3 different operator skins. And since they titled it as operator skins rather than operators, that leads me to believe that these are just reskinned versions of those operators that we've already seen within the menus there. So it's basically just a different outfit for those same characters. And that does give us a bit of an indication of what we can expect to see in the future when it comes to cosmetics for Modern Warfare. It looks like a big part of the cosmetics outside of the gun cosmetics, which is going to be big this time around with the gunsmith. But outside of that, it looks like operator skins are also going to be quite a big deal here. So as a result, I'm getting the impression that all of the operators that we've seen in the menus, including the ones that were locked that we didn't actually fully see, but you can see that they're there, that may end up being all of the operators we see throughout the entire life cycle of this game. However, for each of those 9 operators on each faction, there is a ton of room for having plenty of different types of skins. Now, one other thing I noticed while going through the operator menus, and this could mean nothing, but it also might mean something. This part's going to be getting a little bit speculative, but when you select an operator, you can view them in greater detail, you can zoom in on certain areas, and also you can pan down to see their boots, for instance. Well, this could be just a method for you to check out how detailed these skins are that the developers are putting into the game. This also could possibly mean that they will piece out certain sections of the outfit. So you could have different sunglasses, different boots, different gloves, Nigerian knee pads, if you guys remember back to Advanced Warfare. That's something that could potentially end up happening with this as well. Now, after seeing that operator pack and seeing that it was full skins that come with the operator pack, I do feel that it might be a bit of a stretch to expect that you can change out your sunglasses, for instance. But I just wanted to point out that in the menus, there is that functionality for focusing on very specific aspects of the character model, and therefore, maybe there is an opportunity for them to piece out certain aspects of a skin. And this brings me to the discussion of cosmetics and how this could impact microtransactions going forward with Modern Warfare. This is still one of my really big concerns with this game, just based on what we've experienced in the past year with Black Ops 4, where the microtransactions just got progressively worse throughout the year and more anti-consumer. I am definitely concerned for what could happen in the future of Modern Warfare as well. I think the game will absolutely launch in a perfectly acceptable microtransaction state. Maybe there'll be some very minor microtransactions, nothing too offensive, nothing too crazy. But my big concern is what happens after all of the Christmas sales. So by the time we get into January or February, what's going to happen with microtransactions? Now, personally, I think they're actually opening up a lot of great doors for future microtransactions that are cosmetic only. Cosmetic microtransactions that have no impact on gameplay, I am all for that. I really want them to make as much money as they possibly can without impacting gameplay overall. And in Modern Warfare, it looks like we're going to have plenty of opportunity for these operator skins. Potentially, like I said, might be a bit of a stretch, don't quote me on this, but potentially there could be room for some pieced out gear as well. So if you want to get a different set of boots or gloves or sunglasses, you might be able to do that. And then obviously with that gunsmith section as well, where each primary weapon has roughly 60 attachments available, there is so much potential for purely cosmetic changes in this area as well, so you can really deck that gun out exactly how you want it. And this is kind of exciting to me because all of this sort of stuff is stuff that's actually worthwhile within the cosmetic pool. When I think back to some of the recent Call of Duty games where you get like stickers or sprays that nobody ever actually uses, and just useless nonsense like that, it might actually be kind of nice this year to have meaningful cosmetics in their microtransaction system that we actually care about and wouldn't mind even spending a little bit of money on. I've said it before and I'll say it again, as long as the microtransaction system is purely cosmetic and fair to the consumer, while also offering worthwhile cosmetic changes, I am perfectly willing to be spending money on a system like this. I should also point out that I mean outside of the supply drop system. I don't gamble when it comes to this kind of stuff, but if there are direct purchases that are worthwhile, fairly priced, and aren't impacting gameplay, or there's nothing else within the system that impacts gameplay, I'm perfectly willing to support that kind of a system. The moment they add something like a stat change weapon though, that's the moment I stop buying anything post-launch. So I'm really hoping they manage to do the right thing here, keep things cosmetic, keep things fair for the consumer, while also giving us meaningful options that we wouldn't mind spending money on. Of course, we likely won't get any information regarding microtransactions, or at least very little information regarding microtransactions until we approach launch, and even then, like I said, the game will probably launch with very little in the way of microtransactions. It's more so what happens down the road that I'm interested to see what will happen. I'm optimistic, but at the same time, I'm going to be very cautiously optimistic when it comes to this. In the past, Infinity Ward has generally done a pretty good job with microtransactions post-launch, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to do a good job with it this year. So definitely something that we'll just have to keep an eye on as time goes on. But with that, I'd like to know in the comment section below, first off, what do you guys think about the operator system within Modern Warfare, as well as the individual operators that we've seen so far? Do you think they're pretty cool looking, or were you hoping for a little bit more? And also, what do you guys think about the potential future of the microtransaction system for Modern Warfare? What kinds of things would you like to see within their microtransaction system, and what would your preferred system be? Just let me know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more Modern Warfare content if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.